Shalom, I'm Rabbi Joseph Oliver, and what I'm about to share with you today will either transform how you see money forever, or you'll dismiss it and stay exactly where you are right now. 3 months ago, a woman named Sarah walked into my study. She was 54 years old, crying, holding an eviction notice. She told me she'd been praying Psalm 23 every single morning for 2 years. 2 years. And she was about to lose her home. I looked at her and said something that shocked her. Sarah, you're using one of the most powerful spiritual technologies ever created, and you're using it completely backward. Today, I'm going to show you what 90% of people get wrong when they recite Psalm 23, and exactly why this ancient psalm, when used correctly, can clear financial blockages that have followed your family for generations. Let me be direct with you. I didn't learn this from books. I learned this from watching my grandfather, a man who came to America in 1947 with nothing but the clothes on his back and a prayer book. By 1965, he owned 3 buildings in Brooklyn. People in our community used to whisper that he had some secret, some special connection. The truth is simpler and more profound than that. He understood something about consciousness and money that most people will never grasp. He understood that prayer is not begging. Prayer is frequency alignment. I know that sounds abstract, so let me make it concrete. Right now, wherever you are, I want you to think about your relationship with money. When you think about your bank account, your bills, your financial future, what do you feel in your body? Be honest. Most people feel a knot in their stomach, a tightness in their chest, fear, anxiety, desperation. That feeling, that physical sensation, is your consciousness. And that consciousness is creating your financial reality right now, in this moment, whether you realize it or not. Here's what most people don't understand about Psalm 23. Adonai Roi, lo exar. In English we say, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." Most people recite this as a plea. They're broke, they're scared, and they say these words hoping God will hear their desperation and fix their problems. But here's the truth that changed everything for me. This is not a request. This is a declaration. It's not, "Please God, make it so I won't want." It's, "I shall not want because I am already connected to infinite abundance." Do you see the difference? One is begging, the other is claiming. In Jewish mysticism, we have a concept called Ein Sof, which means without end. It refers to the infinite nature of God. In the consciousness of infinity, lack doesn't exist. Scarcity is impossible. There is only abundance flowing continuously. When you recite Psalm 23 correctly, you're not asking to be connected to that source. You're declaring that you already are connected. You're tuning your frequency to match the frequency of infinite abundance. And when your frequency shifts, your reality begins to shift with it. Let me take you back to Sarah. When she walked into my office that day, she was vibrating at lack frequency. Every word she spoke reinforced it. "I don't have enough. I'll never have enough. Why isn't God helping me?" I told her. "Sarah, God is not a cosmic vending machine. You can't just put in prayers and expect money to come out. Prayer is consciousness technology. Right now, your consciousness is saying, 'I am in lack,' and the universe is giving you exactly what you're declaring." She looked at me like I was speaking another language. "Rabbi," she said, "are you telling me this is my fault?" I said, "No. I'm telling you that you have more power than you realize, and you've been using it backward. I'm going to give you the exact method I taught Sarah. But first, I need to destroy a lie that's keeping millions of people broke. The lie is this. If you're spiritual enough, if you pray hard enough, if you're good enough, money will come to you. This is complete nonsense. Money doesn't respond to goodness. Money responds to consciousness. I've seen terrible people become wealthy, and wonderful people stay poor their entire lives. The difference is never virtue. The difference is always frequency. Jewish families have been building generational wealth for millennia, and it's not because we're smarter or luckier. The statistics are undeniable. Jewish people represent less than 0.2% of the global population, but we account for nearly 20% of billionaires worldwide. The median net worth in Jewish households is more than 10 times the national average in the United States. This isn't genetics. This isn't some conspiracy. This is consciousness passed down through generations. We've been teaching our children how to think about money differently since they were old enough to understand language. In the Talmud, there's a teaching, Kol hamerakem al habriot, merashamim alav min hashamayim. Whoever has mercy on people, heaven has mercy on them. But most people misunderstand this completely. They think it means if you're kind, God will reward you. That's not it. What it actually means is that the act of giving creates a vessel for receiving. When you give, even when it feels like you can't afford to, you're making a declaration to the universe. You're saying, I have abundance to share, and the universe responds to that frequency. This is why I told Sarah to do something that seemed insane to her. I told her that before she recited Psalm 23 each morning, she had to give away money. She stared at me. Rabbi, I'm about to be evicted. I don't have money to give away. I said, give $1. Give 50 cents. Give whatever feels like a stretch but not impossible. The amount doesn't matter. The consciousness matters. Sarah thought I'd lost my mind, but she was desperate enough to try. Here's the 4-step method I taught her, and I'm going to give it to you right now. Listen carefully because this is not theory. This is tested spiritual technology that's worked for thousands of years. Step 1. Shift to gratitude before you pray. You cannot come to Psalm 23 from desperation. I don't care how scared you are. I don't care how many bills are overdue. If you approach this prayer from lack consciousness, it will not work. Before you recite one word, find one thing, just one thing, to be genuinely grateful for. Maybe it's that you woke up today. Maybe it's that you have food. Maybe it's that someone loves you. Feel that gratitude in your body. This shifts your frequency from lack to abundance, even if it's just a crack in the door. Step 2. Declare. Don't beg. Now you're ready for the psalm. And this is critical. Every single word must be spoken as a present reality declaration, not a hope, not a wish, a declaration of what already is. Adonai Roy, the Lord is my shepherd, not I hope the Lord will be, or please God, be. The Lord is. Present tense. Right now. Lo exar, I shall not want. Not, I hope I won't want, or please make it so I don't want. I shall not want. This is already true in the infinite abundance of God. You're not asking for this to become true. You're declaring that it already is true in the highest reality, and you're aligning your consciousness with that truth. Step 3. Visualize the vessel. In Kabbalah, we teach that you must become a vessel for receiving. As you declare, I shall not want, close your eyes and see yourself as a container positioned under a waterfall of infinite abundance. The water is already flowing. It never stops. You're not begging for it to flow. You're simply positioning yourself to receive what's already pouring. See it. Feel it in your body. You are connected to Ein Sof, the infinite source. That source never runs dry. It flows continuously, and you are already connected to it. Step 4. Take one action step. This is what most people miss, and it's absolutely critical. After you pray, you must take one action toward your financial goal. Just one. It doesn't have to be big, but it has to be something. Make one phone call, send one email, apply for one opportunity, learn one new skill. The prayer shifts your consciousness. The action demonstrates faith. And this combination, consciousness plus action, is what creates what people call miracles. Let me tell you what happened with Sarah. She committed to practicing this method every morning for 30 days. In the first week, nothing external changed. But Sarah told me something shifted inside her. The constant panic that had been choking her for months started to ease. Her mind felt clearer. She could think about her situation without immediately spiraling into terror. By week 2, something unexpected happened. Sarah remembered an old friend who'd borrowed $800 from her 3 years earlier. She'd completely written it off, assumed she'd never see that money again. But from her new consciousness, she reached out. Not begging, not desperate, just a simple message. Hey, I've been thinking about you. How are you doing? The friend responded immediately, apologized profusely, and sent her $800 that same week. Now some of you are thinking, that's just coincidence. Let me tell you what happened next. In week 3, Sarah went to a community event she would have normally skipped because she felt too ashamed of her financial situation. But operating from abundance consciousness instead of lack, she showed up differently. She wasn't there to beg for help. She was there as someone valuable with something to offer. At that event, she met someone who mentioned they were looking for exactly the skills Sarah had. Within 10 days, she had a freelance contract worth $3,200. By the end of 90 days, Sarah had earned an additional $11,000, negotiated a payment plan with her landlord, and had $1,400 saved. She didn't get evicted. She's still in that apartment today, and last month she told me she just signed a lease on a bigger place. This wasn't magic. This wasn't luck. This was consciousness. Sarah showed up differently because her internal frequency had shifted. She could see opportunities that had been invisible to her before. She made decisions from clarity instead of panic. People responded to her differently because desperation is repellent and confidence is magnetic. And it all started with using Psalm 23 correctly. Let me tell you about another person, a man named Marcus. Marcus wasn't Jewish, and when he first came to see me, he wasn't sure if any of this would work for him. I told him what I'm telling you now. This is not about religion. This is about consciousness. These principles work for anyone willing to apply them. Marcus was 61 years old, had been laid off from his job of 23 years, and was convinced his life was over. He'd been applying for jobs for 8 months with 0 responses. He was drowning in shame and fear. I taught him the same 4-step method. Give first, even $1. Shift to gratitude. Declare Psalm 23 as present reality. Take 1 action daily. Marcus was skeptical, but he tried it. In the first 2 weeks, he noticed his mindset changing. He stopped seeing himself as a desperate old man nobody wanted. He started seeing himself as someone with decades of valuable experience. From that new consciousness, he rewrote his entire resume and reached out to 5 former colleagues he'd lost touch with, not to beg for a job, just to reconnect. Within 30 days, one of those colleagues mentioned an opportunity at their company. Marcus interviewed and got the position. It paid $18,000 more than his previous job. He called me in tears. "Rabbi," he said, "I thought my life was over. I thought it was too late." I told him, "Marcus, it's never too late to shift your consciousness. Age doesn't matter. Circumstances don't matter. Consciousness is everything." Now, I want to address something directly because I know some of you are thinking it. "Rabbi, are you saying that poor people are poor because of their consciousness? That sounds like you're blaming victims." See, let me be crystal clear. Systemic barriers exist. Discrimination exists. Economic oppression is real. I'm not denying any of that. But here's what I am saying. Consciousness is the one factor anyone can control, regardless of external circumstances. Jewish people have survived some of the worst persecution in human history. Slavery in Egypt, exile in Babylon, pogroms in Europe, the Holocaust. They took our homes, our businesses, our possessions, our lives. But they couldn't take our understanding of consciousness and abundance principles. This isn't about blaming anyone. This is about empowering anyone, starting from anywhere, to shift their internal reality first. Because when your internal reality shifts, your external reality eventually follows. Let me give you the scientific backing for why this actually works. In quantum physics, there's a principle called the observer effect. It says that the act of observation influences the thing being observed. Your consciousness doesn't just affect how you feel. It influences the field of possibilities around you. When you operate from lack consciousness, you literally cannot see opportunities that are right in front of you. Your brain filters them out because they don't match your frequency. But when you shift to abundance consciousness, through practices like correctly using Psalm 23, you begin to perceive possibilities that were always there, but invisible to you before. There's also a concept in neuroscience called the reticular activating system. It's the part of your brain that filters information and decides what's important enough for your conscious awareness. When you're operating from fear and lack, your RAS filters for threats and scarcity. When you shift to abundance consciousness, your RAS starts filtering for opportunities and resources. This is why 2 people can walk into the same room, and one sees opportunity everywhere, while the other sees nothing. Same room, different consciousness, different results. Now let me give you the companion practice that makes Psalm 23 work exponentially better. This is what took Sarah and Marcus from good results to extraordinary results. The companion practice is daily giving, what we call tzedakah in Hebrew. It doesn't mean charity in the way most people think. Tzedakah comes from the word tzedek, which means justice or righteousness. It's not about pity, it's about creating balance and flow in the universe. Here's the principle, and this is going to sound counterintuitive. You cannot authentically say, "I shall not want," while gripping every penny in fear. You cannot operate in abundance consciousness while your actions scream scarcity. In Kabbalah, we teach that giving creates the vessel for receiving. Most people think, "How can I give when I barely have enough? I need to receive first, then I'll give." That's backward. That's scarcity thinking. Here's how it actually works. When you give, even when it feels like you can't afford to, you're making a declaration. You're saying, "I have enough to share. I am not in lack. I am connected to infinite abundance, and therefore I can afford to give." This breaks scarcity consciousness at the deepest possible level. Scarcity says, hold tight, there's not enough. Abundance says, give freely, there's always more flowing. So here's what I want you to do. Every single day, before you recite Psalm 23, give something. In the beginning, the amount doesn't matter. Give $1, give 50 cents, give whatever feels like a stretch, but not impossible. The amount is not the point. The consciousness is the point. You're training yourself to operate as someone who has abundance to share, not as someone hoarding crumbs. This creates the vessel. When you declare abundance through Psalm 23, you fill that vessel. The Lubavitcher Rebbe taught that giving tzedakah creates a vessel for receiving blessing. It benefits the giver by creating space, and it benefits the receiver by providing what they need. It's a complete circuit of abundance. Let me tell you about Rachel, a single mother who came to see me 2 years ago. She was making $33,000 a year, raising 2 children alone, drowning in debt. When I told her about the giving practice, she looked at me like I'd lost my mind. Rabbi, I can't afford to give anything. I'm already behind on everything. I challenged her. Can you give $5 a week? Just $5 to any cause you believe in while practicing Psalm 23 daily? She was terrified. Every dollar mattered to her. But something in her decided to trust the process. She committed to 30 days. Rachel gave $5 every week to a local food bank. She practiced Psalm 23 as a declaration every morning. She took one action step daily toward improving her situation. 2 months into the practice, Rachel received a job offer for $49,000 a year. Not magic, not a lottery win, a better opportunity that she applied for from abundance consciousness instead of desperation. 6 months later, she got promoted to $62,000. She now gives 10% of her income automatically every single month, and she told me something I'll never forget. Rabbi, that practice of giving $5 a week when I was broke, that completely transformed my relationship with money. I went from, there's never enough, to, there's always more flowing. That shift in consciousness opened doors I didn't even know existed. This is what I want you to understand. Psalm 23 is not a magic spell. It's a consciousness-shifting technology that's been proven for 3,000 years. When used correctly, it aligns you with the infinite abundance of the universe. But it only works if you use it right. You can't come to it from desperation. You can't beg. You must declare. You must embody the consciousness of someone already connected to infinite supply. And you must demonstrate that consciousness through action and through giving. Here's what I want you to do right now. Not tomorrow, not next week. Right now. First, decide what amount you're going to give daily or weekly. Even if it's just $1, commit to it. Second, starting tomorrow morning, before you check your phone, before you look at social media, before you do anything else, practice the 4-step method. Find one thing to be grateful for. Give your committed amount. Recite Psalm 23 as a declaration of present reality. Then take one action step toward your financial goal. Third, track your consciousness shifts. Don't just wait for money to magically appear in your account. Pay attention to internal changes first. Notice when the panic decreases. Notice when you see opportunities you couldn't see before. Notice when you make decisions from clarity instead of fear. These are the signs that the practice is working. I want to tell you one more story before we finish. My grandfather, the man who came to America with nothing, used to say something to me when I was young. He'd say, Yosef Tizkor, Joseph, remember, God doesn't give you what you ask for. God gives you what you believe you already have. I didn't understand what he meant until I was much older. He wasn't talking about positive thinking or lying to yourself. He was talking about frequency alignment. He was talking about consciousness creating reality. My grandfather practiced this every single day of his life. Every morning he'd give tzedakah before he prayed. He'd recite Psalm 23, not as a beggar, but as someone declaring his connection to infinite abundance. Then he'd go out and take action. He lived from abundance consciousness, and abundance flowed to him. When he died at 87, he left behind not just money, but a legacy of understanding. He taught our entire family that wealth is not about how much you have. It's about what frequency you're operating from. I've now taught this method to hundreds of people over the past decade. Jewish people and non-Jewish people, young people and old people, people starting with nothing and people starting with debt. The ones who commit to it, who practice it daily for at least 30 days, almost always report the same thing. Something shifts. Not always in the external circumstances right away, but always in the internal consciousness first. And once that internal shift happens, the external changes begin to follow. Sometimes it's new opportunities appearing. Sometimes it's money they'd forgotten about showing up. Sometimes it's clarity to make better decisions. Sometimes it's confidence that attracts different circumstances. But it always starts with consciousness. So let me ask you directly, what financial blockage do you need to clear right now? What's the one action step you're going to take after you practice this prayer tomorrow morning? I want you to go down to the comments and write it. Make it public. Make it real. And here's my challenge to you. Commit publicly in the comments that you will practice this method daily for 30 days. Not 29 days. Not, I'll try. 30 days of committed practice. Then come back and tell me what happened. Tell me what shifted in your consciousness. Tell me what opportunities appeared. Tell me how your relationship with money changed. If this teaching opened your eyes to a completely new understanding of how prayer and prosperity actually work, I need you to do something for me. Subscribe to this channel and share this message with one person you know who's struggling financially. Not because I need the views, but because this understanding has the power to break generational poverty. This is knowledge that should belong to everyone, not just a privileged few. Next week, I'm going to reveal something that will challenge everything you think you know about work and rest. I'm going to teach you the ancient Jewish practice of Shabbat and how observing one complete day of rest every single week actually multiplies your income and productivity the other 6 days. This is a principle that built empires. This is a principle that the most successful people in the world have been using, whether they realize it or not. You don't want to miss it. Here's what I want you to remember. You are not a beggar waiting for handouts. You are a child of the infinite creator of the universe. Abundance is not something you have to earn or deserve. Abundance is your birthright. You just forgot. Psalm 23 is simply helping you remember. The blockages in your financial life are not external. They're internal. They're consciousness blockages. And the moment you shift your consciousness from lack to abundance, from begging to declaring, from fear to trust, the external world begins to shift with you. It's not magic. It's spiritual law. It's been proven for 3,000 years. Now it's your turn to prove it in your own life. May you experience overflow in every area of your life. May your vessel be continually filled from the infinite source. May you go from strength to strength, from abundance to greater abundance. This is not just my blessing for you. This is your declaration of what already is in the highest reality. You just need to align your consciousness with it. Start tomorrow. Give, declare, visualize, act. Do this for 30 days and watch what happens. I promise you, something will shift. Shalom.